Okay, so look, my name is William. Alright, now today I got to talk about AB 1608. Alright, the name of this bill is called the Office of Inspector General, High Speed Rail. Office of Inspector General, High Speed Rail. That's the name of AB 1608. Oh yeah, and the person who made this bill is a Democrat named Lori Wilson. Now, let me tell you something. I don't like this bill. I hate this bill too. It's not, yeah, it hasn't passed the Senate yet. So we still have time to call local representatives and stop this bill. You know that's why. But we need to talk about it anyway. You know, that's why. So let's read about it. You can read about it right here. What it does. I'm not sure when it can go to effect. Because I know, when I know of, the last I talked about, you know, the Stop Next Surely Act, always known as Privacy Immigration for Support Services Act. Well, the bill I talked about last time. You know, that law will go to effect in October. That might go to effect. Well, it's scheduled to go to effect in October of next year. That's what I found out anyway. But what about AP 608? When did that one will go to effect? I don't know. Let's see, because right here, the name of it right here is here. It's called the Officer of Inspector General High Speed Rail. It's made by Lori Wilson, and it's still focused on Project C. It has passed the Assembly line, but hasn't passed the Senate yet, so it's not law yet. But it's made by this Democrat named Lori Wilson. So So let me Google it. So when it will go to effect. When it will take effect? Well, okay. So AP 608, if it's passed, but if it passed and signed by the governor, it will go to effect in January of next year. It will take effect. It will take effect in January of next year. Okay, January 1st, 2027, next year. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, Michael Gates won't enforce it. That's why. It's moving. Yeah, it's moving through the Senate. That's why. It's about the high speed rail. All 3 nuggets of operational 30 euros to turn that year. That's why. So if it gets signed, it will go to effect next year. Is that it's not it's just it hasn't passed the Senate yet. So we still have time to stop this bill. Anyway, because this, well, I got to why this is well, because it's gonna be because this bill called AB 608 is gonna make this bill to remain secret, and this is not good at all. This is very unconstitutional, and we need to stop this. I believe we need to stop this bill too. That's why. Well, you tell me something about the high-speed rail project. It's not being built at all. And guess what? If you vote for Steve Hilton, he will kill the high-speed rail project. So that's why. So this is what I'm talking about. So let's read about it. Let's read about HC 608. So it's existing law, the High-Speed Rail Authority developed a permit of the high-speed rail system in the state. Existing law, the High-Speed Rail Authority Office, and the Inspector General authorizes the high-speed rail project undertaken by the authority section of undertakers of the project. Existing law authorizes authorizes the Inspector General appoint of employee officers, employees, and necessary to carry out the functions of office as specified. This bill would rename the office of the Inspector General High-Speed Rail, revise the title, and the Inspector General as the Inspector General of the High-Speed Rail. This bill would authorize the Inspector General to make us classifications of associated ranges and other ordinance compensation established or otherwise, and state agencies to find the Inspector General as performing comparable outside work as specified. That's why. This bill will authorize the Inspector General contract and good services Inspector General deems as necessary for the furtherance of the office. A contract up to $1 million in value. The bill will exempt the Inspector General from all contract required public trunk contract code. The code all information, technology requirements of the Government Code, require oversight and by of the Department of Neural Services and state and other state agency. So the California high-speed rail records could remain secret under a proposed law. Okay, let's read about this. So the California Inspector General monitor have long the high-speed rail project. Now, one lawmaker allow office withhold and investigate records from the public. Keep up with your California representatives, more impossible than before. Now you can watch them like a hawk. Signed by registrator, you weekly have report your tracks of stewards to say and do. The California High-Speed Rail Authority wants the power to keep records confidential. Joining concerns of the transparency advocates of the agency could shield vital information controversial in the public as judge of the public. It's built 1608, authorized by the Assembly Transportation Committee, Lori Wilson. Will allow the Inspector General overseeing the High-Speed Rail Authority to withhold records, and an official believes would reveal weakness, and it could harm the state and benefit someone appropriately. This bill would also prevent released internal discussions, personal papers, and correspondence if the person involved submits a written request, and to keep the records private. The students and peers blessing of Governor Gavin Newsom, whose administration nearly identical budget trailer bill, a vehicle for the governor to straight up leaders and adopted major reforms, swiftly minimal public input on Monday. The language of the proposals came to the Inspector General's office of the H.G. Palmer, spokesperson of the State Department of Finance. That's why. The Inspector of the General High-Speed Rail Authority, with Dedos Malders of the Recognitions of Authority, was formed in 2022, and Assembly Democrats hold the bullet train as its exchange of extensive oversight. The rail line, designed to connect San Francisco to Los Angeles, was approved by folders in 2008. At the time, estimated to have $33 billion to be completed in 2020. It is now estimated to be cost $100 billion and only 130-mile segment connecting Merced and Bakersfield, and plans to completion by 2033. Ooh. And the project delays a increasing price tag frustrated by both Democrats and Republicans. Former Assembly Speaker Anthony Rodden, the Los Angeles Democrat who held up funding in 2022, And at the time, no comments on project of the U.S. Representative Kevin Kiley, a Rockin' Republican, has fiercely criticized the waste of money and introduced the state of general against federal funding for it. Wilson, Sun City Democrat, a former county auditor. He said the bill will empower the Executive General's office to shield the public from public records, requests, sensitive data, such as whistleblowers' identities and details of fraud, documents regarding pending litigation, and records of security risk. High-Speed Rail Authority officials often will not turn over sensitive of oversight agency of fear, and office would be compelled to release them, forcing Inspector General's office to jump through the hoops of team operation of auditors. She argued, the only way we'll get to level of transparency and accountability in the legislature requires to make our Inspector General's office, who are taking the eyes and ears to the public, every protection they need to be able to take a full deep dive without hindrance. Wilson told Kel Manners in an interview last week. Yeah. Polk echoed Wilson's point, arguing governor's proposal aims to allow the Inspector General's office to communicate sensitive findings, to stir Obama's position, and take coercive action. But some good government groups and same the measure as offering Inspector General's office blanket authority withhold anything it does not want to disclose. This also a time bomb is disclosure, and Chuck Champion, president of the California Publishers Association. That's one. And as for the drawing decision for Republicans who already consider Project a failure, Assembly member Alexandra Macedo, a Festia Republican who is assaulting that the project began, she was in middle school, remains far from complete. She called the empty concrete high-speed rail structures without a district modern-day Stonehenge. As far as I'm concerned, every ounce of the high-speed project available for public consumption. It should be presented functionally, entirely, and this their body, she said. Officials at High Speed Rail, the Inspector General that oversees it, declined Cal Matters' request of the comment. Newsom's office did not respond to Cal Matters' questions by press of the echoed Wilson's agreement, and statement after the story was published. This built a series of legislative attempts to shield records agencies from the public. Last year, lawmakers passed laws to reduce public meeting requirements for various groups of local governments, and research review organizations extended insurances from having a disclosed information they report to the legislature. State Treasurer Fiona Ma, and Fiona Ma is becoming, is running for lieutenant governor. And right now I found out that Fiona Ma is running as lieutenant governor as a Democrat. Yeah, please don't fall for her. Fall for Gloria Romero. Anyway, but let's keep reading about this. So yeah, Fiona Ma was sponsored a measure established of new investigative agency with her office while accepting the probations of public disclosure. A bill was openly watered down and killed last year. The California Public Records Act, which applies to all state and local agencies except state legislature judicial offices, already exempts disclosure and various types of sensitive information. Wilson's measure aims to protect Jenny Laurie, advocating of the First Amendment Coalition, which champions of press freedom and transparency. For example, the law broadly allows agencies withhold records when they believe it serves a public interest. There's also specific protections of permitting drafts and internal discussions of trade secrets. The documents related to pending litigation involving a public agency which are disclosable once a lawsuit is resolved. By amending the public records law would take up the Inspector General's capacity, said Wilson's Chief of Staff, Taylor Woolvork. This bill objective is a small oversight body and concentrate generating meaningful reports, strengthen the Vice Bureau program, and divert limited resources toward the new aspects of CRPA questions of vetting of disclosure and decisions in court, he said in an email. While Woolvork acknowledged existing exemptions for agency in the public records law, he said it does not go far with the project of Inspector General Office. Under current law, the High-Speed Rail Authority is being sued, and the Inspector General's office could be required to release information because the agency itself is being sued, he said. Both proposals allow people who communicate the Inspector General's office to stay confidential as long as they make written request. Practice and laws that govern as the audit office, Inspector General, and other agencies, and state departments and transportation, corrections, and rehabilitation. If a project should have intense and transparency scrutiny, it's the high-speed rail. Its decisions will hold information be based on objective validity criteria and independent of someone's personal wishes, Lowry said. A whistleblower, understandably, may have far coming forward important information about waste, fraud, and abuse, and it doesn't mean that it should be able to control what the public has access to. Laurel has also took issue allowing Inspector General information due to potential weakness and information of scrutiny, physical scrutiny, and fraud detection, controls, or pending litigation. Language that held matters could not find anywhere else, and that state public records access laws. On its face, it could agency refusing disclosure information because it's embarrassing. And especially in this law, it's too often that agencies explain words of the ultimately protect people and decisions that make a conspiracy one uncomfortable and create controversy. We asked about the language. Wilson said she exempts proposal and hold it on the through of the legislative process. This would be felt at a good starting point, she said. It is troubling whenever lawmakers seek to further show public agencies and disclosure requirements, especially watchdog agency overseeing a Congress project, Laurel and Champion said. And if any project tends to transparency scrutiny, and it's the high-speed rail, Champion said. This project has been a disaster from Jump Street, and what else it isn't in there have not found yet. Have not yet found that they could took into this loophole. That's why. So that's about this, and and here is on CBS News right here about this one. We're talking about AB 1608. And we're talking about the same about 1608. Let's read about this. So California is attempting to build the nation's first bullet train. The project is blown a deadline after deadline and more than a decade. Now Governor Gavin Newsom is threatening to veto a bill containing what a Project President Watchdog calls absolutely essentially tools with high-speed rail authority accountable according to discussions of Administrative Administrator. Well, he doesn't have to veto the bill just yet because it has not passed the Senate yet. That's why it needs to pass the Senate before it can even get to the governor's desk. That's why he can still stop it before it can get to the governor's desk. Just call your local representatives and ask to vote no. Simple. Meaning a bunch of calls against this bill. That's why. And now CBS investigates of recently exposed costly of missed train deadlines are reported of. The project could run out of money as soon as 2027 without new financing. Wow. To provide oversight, the state created the minimum watchdog in 2023 and the Inspector General with power and audit contracts investigate fraud and that flag points before they turn into bigger, more expensive ones. The watchdog is Ben Belknap. He was appointed by Newsom, and he stated that's not given to him all the tools he needs to do the job. The bill that's been part of the office, Extreme Bill 608, authored by Assembly Member Lori Wilson, we're moving through the legislature all year. And cleared by the Senate Appropriates Committee last week, and the two floors voted away and passing as written. Now the governor's office is planning to veto it. According to the public sources' knowledge, discussion who spoke the condition gets unauthorized to discuss legislations. Here's a twist. Gavin Newsom has already enacted most of the congressional part of the bill. This publication expected of new authority could hold portions of reveal security risk and protecting gaps of pending litigation. Critics called them anti-transparency. So Newsom enacted unfolding of the state of the trailer bill. Okay, trailer bills are a companion measure and right along with the state budget of the fast track. The state public fitting them as standalone legislation. The governor is now pending to veto remaining provisions of the bill. But according to familiar discussions, that's the part of we will give Inspector General purchased authority job classifications as authority to accountable. To be clear, but whether it be simply it's a good policy is already law. Well, the one over here, this one's not a law yet. It has not passed the Senate, so that's why. In this case, the focus have made a big few, have to go as far as support lawmakers and watchdogs alike. Newsom blamed that Trump high-speed rail $4 million funding cut. We're quite sure that California has never bought the trains it promised. California high-speed rail could run out of money by December 2027. The Inspector General warns, and Governor cuts train order in half. Well, that's true. Okay, Newsom, Expert General himself is unclear why administration will oppose the tools appointed watchdog. He needs to oversee the governor's signature project and high-speed rail accountable. The governor's office declined a special question from CBS California investigates only. When you comment about if the bill is these final 2 weeks of session, meant for public, and this reason won't be. They will not go through the committee review and very study changes or why. Wilson's office says that the discussion in the governor's office admitting that he has no direct language amendments nor a possible veto. Notably, the state confirms the litigation of governor's office are underway. And indicates administration does not support provisions as written. And which declares 5 initiative committees has passed the assembly floor. Now, CBS key findings. The Inspector General has spent $100 million trying to buy $300,000 and the software doesn't have it. Records approval of project at roughly $2 million at the cost. The bill would let the IG buy it directly and follow its purchase without added cost. The office notes that the current process is delayed on software implementation, but was proposed by over a year. According to IG, the Watchdog's office is staffed because experienced auditors and current law of job classifications have been predicted 2 years ago. Bill Knapp has turned away fabulous conditions. The bill allowed them to hire qualified staff classifications under state watchdogs we already have, instead of waiting years for the state qualification process. Expected general years as a result of staff shortage, they have not been audible with authorities change order process over a decade, costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. As provision, the Trier bill included purchase order job classification changes and later enacted of the conditional provisions. The Trier bill has not explained provisions have not included. That's right. These provisions draw wide bipartisan and minister from the Association Expert General, which calls inconsistent and such OIG independence. This bill is two floors away from passing, is written. The veto threat is according to portable sources and source after declared from final committee. Wilson's office has not been no correct language amidst or veto discussions with the governor's office. Newsom's appointed Inspector General himself. The tools he needs to threaten a veto are the ones appropriate says it needs the most. So what AB 608 actually does? Well, it is written. AB 608 it had 4 primary provisions that impacted the General's office of rules framework and bridges about the job qualifications. And I don't know what this bill is. Oh. ASB 609. Okay, so that's that bill. Okay, let's be project. That's right. Okay. Okay, the Central Attorney withhold the sense of terrorist risk and intention groups as long as the study explains why. Works history called those anti-transparency provisions, focusing on the IG withholded some information. That's why Newsom administration withhold these 2 provisions into this budget Trier bill. Senate Bill 169, which passed with the budget, had no question for floor with AB 638 itself. CBS cover instigates exempted cover criticisms of provisions and separate fact check found of the Committee of Rules of Repair of Disclosure requirements stronger of than the existing under current law. The Inspector General's bill's authors say of the closely of the First Amendment coalition, nonpartisan government transparency and to amend the bill. The FEC, excuse me, the opponent split the support, calling it a framework model, and the Inspector of the General could balance confidentially public's right to know. Is the further May hearing, I mean, calling it beyond the standard and Inspector General transparency. But that part is in law. Okay, what is administration and purchasing of the Trier bill AB 608? Well, amended down 2 things. Judge office can left out. Permission to watch out calls. Initial judge classifications to hire on the auditors. Okay, and it's like $1 million, so the office can buy goods and result some goods items in line. Okay, and the provisions part of the Inspector General, nonpartisan of under of all 50 states, could always standard for OIG independence, and equipment resources, and the group that takes no position of the border rail project is for whether illustrates a office structure and authority. The next administration with strong oversight, they can help. Number changes of the qualifications. AB 608 would grant immediately without them delay support of the ability of the time is out response reviews. Now go beyond the purchase authority is vested of widgets or of the rail project running aside experts without AB 608 building episodes the office will do it its own. The bill will allow office officially and independently hire expertise. He rolled out organizations with ability to review and approval other entities. In other words, for example, watchdogs appreciation the state who depend in the part of the state permission to staff them. So here's the threat. AB 608 is the Senate Romance Committee, and it's waiting for the Senate floor vote. It last stop us before hitting back and assuming of the Assembly of Commerce, and then to the governor's desk, and then now it's told the VSS California legislators to the investigates that the governor's plans to veto AB 608. As whether it's true, whether its office has said it stands for AB 608 current form, and discussing the bill of the governor's office and point of it's all feedback, which is normal for the point administrative process. As governor's office said, has no direct language of this, but it means nor a possible veto. Once discussion concludes was said is whether it represents appeals future. Students indicates that governor's district gets a veto on the table and why. Me asked why participants think of plans about the trade bill, whether in governor said sign or governor will sign AB 608 is written. The governors did not respond. Alright, that's complete about this one. So here, it says right here, why this matters. The bill is 2 floor votes away as written. And it's convinced, but instead of the minutes of the public, and it won't be. There was no public records, a change as well as why. The public fight is for instance of over those rated law. According to public multiple sources, the new fight is private. Whether administration will allow purchasing of provisions, watchdog is really needed to survive. It's the bill published in early August since Dave Cordes, which is the Transportation Committee stressed and everyone should account, but Inspector General doesn't have resources it needs. You're all accountable for that. Wilson, assuming the transportation chair and the bill's author called an acceptable legislative administration to hamper Inspector General. Wilson said, guess what? We'll be doing it in January, and we'll be doing it to do this again. On this record, the Office Office is changed by AB 608 in its current form. Now, we signed on the record in May. At the May budget hearing, Assembly Member Steve Bonnet, who chairs the committee of the high-speed rail budgets, has the Inspector General of the trail bill gave him what he needed. Okay, so Bill Knapp, the committee didn't go through, and AB 608 provisions not conclude administration of the trail bill. Purchase authority access a higher job qualifications were actually additional. As by the administration would adapt provisions of Department of Finance representative would say was taking consideration on the feedback. A month later, administration trade bill has become all without them. Lawmakers, in fact, have already drafted a provision of the trade bill. I have concluded to provisions, hoping the administration would take it up, and it didn't. The past camp was really controversial of conventional language. In neither governor's office nor Wilson's office, and why these two concerns were that between the May and draft and final trade of bill. Now let's blame taxpayers to wait. 2 pieces of the shelf software standard of the agency were cost $300 instead of approved of a combined budget of $200 million. The bill then says $2 million for total driven of the oversight requirements and consists of a direct of staff time. The staff needs 2 systems. One is a whistleblower complaints and one manage audit files. The 2 years in, Bill Knapp says neither is fully in place. In June 2026, the office had already spent roughly $1.50 million, about $955,000, had tied the state of site requirements and reductive of staff time, and now the software itself. We spent millions, but Knapp said that his organization to buy $200,000 worth of software it still doesn't have. In his response Monday, we put the toll in hours as well as dollars and its small staff. It's spent state approval process delayed 1 hour basis, and its ability to complete timely investigations. Meanwhile, a whistleblower inside High-Speed Rail could only report a problem and the Supervision Authority itself can access. We have complained about this for 2 years, Bill Knapp added. There's staffing. Currently, the office and staff because of the complications, Bill Knapp said. The Stable Analysis Watchdog's staffing group as well justified 2 years ago. Well, today is despite the year round of recruiting. Bill Knapp says the only half of the budgeted staff level positions are filled because the state job classifications don't pay enough complete and qualified authors. The state's office of the request of the February 24 and 15 of the 8 staff level of the final report of the major reviews of 800 hours responding of the complaints to 2,000 hours of the history of the governor itself. Lell has wanted to, without higher job classification, office will struggle to attract the retained staff. Let's remember what happened. The cost of that $1 billion and blind spot. Its own workers' work plan called of this bill to change orders by July 2026, including $500 Pasco and change orders still submit. Okay, Bill Knapp has confirmed in response that CBS covered investigates review has been made of the exchange, and it's now pushed in the next fiscal year. Creating new job classification called COAR and the state personal broad its option and it states significant administrative resources. Bill Knapp says the office doesn't have no guaranteed classification is approved at the end of it. Now talking correct record of $1 million. And now the state of the appreciation of hearing since sensitive Dave Cortez, where it's clear in his chair, concerns the bill price tag. I don't know if $1 of the million of the appropriate piece is a right or not, or just said evidence of agreed to talk about it. However, AP 608 doesn't report you $1 million to the Inspector General's office. It gives authority of qualifying orders up to $1 million without obtaining the first orders the state agency's approval. The office would need money to state budgets for contracts to allow purchasing rules. Okay, in other words, $1 million, currency with threshold, not $1 million in check. And the station matters, and the governor's office cited up the reason. There's nothing in the office paying more of $1.15 so far, and software budgeting more than $2.5 million, driven by largely of its own approval requirements. Yeah, okay. Two months ago, no talk of veto. The CBS committee issued the bill Inspector General in June. Before the trade bill had passed, he said there had been no talk of a veto. I don't want this paint a picture. Its provisions I never get passed. There is no talk, anything like that. But as said, I still have a belief that it will support it for AB 608 if it passes the Senate and it gets to the governor's office desk. But that was in June. The veto thread is described multiple crosses the service later, until the bill become law and AB 608 will advance through the Senate. In responding to your questions on Monday about a possible veto, Knapp said, without getting to a deliberate offices that the office has been regular communication of the general's office about him setting oversight. Credit administration of the trailer bills position instead of the signal that was oversight of the high-speed rail project. Now, let's do administration, he wrote. Now, this unique opportunity has clear path of administrative barriers, so his office can deliver timely of the keep of the project in track. The unanswered question, why is Mr. opposed to tools? The point watchdog says it needs to oversee the governor's signature project. The governor's office have appointed the watchdog and half of this bill and wanted now sources say it's threatening to veto the rest and decline and the answer list of questions from the CBS California. And okay, and this is additional links. Well, that is true, but you know what? Gavin Newsom doesn't have to worry about vetoing this bill just yet. Well, why? Because that's not passed the Senate just yet. That's why. We still have time to stop this unconstitutional bill, and that's why. Just call your local representatives and ask them to vote. Please call your state senators. That's why. I know. Please call your state senators and ask for a no vote on this bill. I already called my state senator, Susan Rubio, and I already asked her to vote no. And I think you should too. And I think you should call your state senator and ask for a no vote too, if you don't want this to pass. You can still stop this bill from passing the Senate. If you want, before it gets to the governor's desk. That's why. So, hopefully, what if AB 620 does pass and does get signed into law? Well, then what you have to do is, hopefully you can ask for a repeal after it does get signed into law. That's why. Because if AB 620 does become law, and hopefully we can get it repealed. And also one more thing. I also put on a YouTube post about but why Xavier Becerra doesn't deserve your vote. Well, he fails Attorney General, that's why, and he fought to keep dangerous criminals on the streets, and he mismanaged the COVID-19 response. So that's why, California Senators don't elect Xavier Becerra. So, don't elect him. Please vote for Steve Hilton if you can. Okay, so please. So you still have time. So yes, you still have time to call your senators, to call your state senators and ask for a no vote on AB 608. Please do that if you can. Whenever you can. Whenever you have time to do it. I'm not telling you to do it right now, but do it whenever you have time to do it. Because I know you're busy with other things like work. So do it whenever you have time to do it. Alright, now, when we talk about next video, well, maybe I'll talk about these. So I'll talk about these bad bills over here. But I could talk about this one. So, what are the next bad bills I'll be talking about? Well, I can talk about AI chatbot compliance, and I can also talk about the App Store Accountability Act. Now, I already talked about COSA, but we can talk about it again anyway. And I already talked about social media bans, but we could talk about that again too. That's why. To learn more about them, that's why. So maybe next video I might talk about AI chatbot compliance. And also, I might talk about the App Store Accountability Act again. I already talked about the one that's already, so I know, I already talked about that. It's already a law in Texas, that's why. But I'll talk about it if you want me, I'll talk more about it so that way you know why we need to be against the App Store Accountability Act. That's why. And also AI chatbot compliance as well. We need to get about that soon. But yes, please call your representative and ask to vote no on these, please. So I believe the next. I believe I'll be talking about AI chatbot compliance next video anyway. Well, I haven't talked about that. That's why. But I'll talk about it next video anyway, because it's something we have to talk about anyway. It's a bad bill. But yeah, I found over here on Project Kids.online bad bills, so I'll read about it next video anyway. But yeah, if you have time, please call the local representatives and ask for a no vote on NDB 608. We don't want this bill to pass, that's why. Because this bill is just keeping the high-speed rail project a secret. You know, making it a crime to expose fraud about the high-speed rail project. That's why. So please, ask for a no vote on NDB 608. And hopefully I'm going to talk about other bad bills, and I'll talk about AI chatbot compliance next video anyway, because I have to go right now anyway. Oh yeah, please make sure to watch my How to Go to Heaven video. On Rumble or BitChute. Anyways. And please check out Binary-Bills.com. And please check out ProtectingKids.online. That Julie Barrett has made from Cover Surfer Ladies of America. Yeah, please check out this website if you can. Alright. We need to get agification stopped in the US, that's why. You know, and age gestation, and also age gestation as well. And I know there's some, so, alright. Hopefully Julie Barrett can put more bills over here soon. Because I think because the bill that she hasn't put yet would be the bill about age gestation on device level. Yeah, I know, which is already a law here in California, and also in Colorado and Illinois. Well, hopefully Julie Barrett can put. Hopefully Julie Barrett can talk about that kind of bill. Can put that kind of can put a bill about that on our thing, and so it's other age vacation bills as well. Anyway, I talked about these already, so that's why. But yeah. Anyway, so I think I'll talk about. So yeah, I believe I'll talk about HIPAA compliance next video, because I have to go right now. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Say goodbye. Adios, and I'm Zai Chan.